Hi there, and welcome to the Den. This is Rydgen. This is the premiere episode where I'm going to figure out what I'm doing, see what it's all about. I've already tried to do this once using my Canon Rebel, but it only records in 12-minute increments. And I also don't want to burn out the DSLR. From what I've read, it's not a good idea to keep it running for video, which makes sense. It's more of a photography camera anyway. The video camera functions just kind of an auxiliary. Yay! Bonus. So, what can we expect with Rydgen's Den? Well, this is me just reviewing my collection. It's not me doing point to point every little aspect of every figure with all the articulation, because you already have plenty of people that do a great job of doing that. They point out all the little details about the paint, the articulation, and behind the scenes type thing, and that's fine. This is going to be more of me just talking about my collection as a whole, and what it means to me to collect, and what these figures mean to me as a collector. So, I guess we should start from Rydgen's Den. Currently, Rydgen's Den is a table. I live in a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment with my wife, and we're saving up towards a house next year. So I will very likely have a proper room for this kind of thing. But until then, this dining room table works out fine. Rydgen's Den, that was the name of my first website back in the 90s. It wasn't even on GeoCities. I can't remember who I had it through, but it was some free website provider. And it was very garish. It was blue and green. It was terrible. But most free websites were back then. But I've kept the name here and there. Rydgen itself, that's a name I came up with in the early 90s for a video game on the Amiga computer system called Alternate Reality. And I just kind of sounded out some sounds. Rydgen came out, and it sounded good, and I kept it. And I've been using that ever since for video games, everything else. And I created a character, Rydgen. Green hair, green goatee, because that's his background. Not going to get into that character right now, but that's kind of my avatar nowadays. So, and that's why I've got this guy. It's obviously, if you know your WWE or WWF, because I think this is early 2000s from what one of my followers said on Instagram, it's The Edge. He had a good face for it, and it's easy to paint, and the proportions are very big. It's a 7-inch scale figure, but until I get a proper 6-inch scale custom done, this will do for now. And which is something I'm working on right now. I'm gathering parts, trying to figure out what body I want to use. Good times. So, yeah, as a collector, I didn't start collecting, or at least I didn't realize I was a collector until early 2000s. I've been collecting, technically, for about 25 years. I don't include my childhood, because I don't have really any of my childhood stuff, except for my Ninja Turtles stuff. But when I turned about 12, 13, I decided to sell my Thundercats, He-Man, all that kind of stuff at a garage sale, as a lot of children do at about that age. Time to grow up, time to get rid of this stuff. So I am a late 70s butt end of the Gen X generation. So I'm an 80s kid, 90s teenager, and 2000s adult. So of course, my favorite stuff is from the 80s, and some from the 90s, but mostly 80s. Now, even as a kid though, when I would open up my presents, my Masters of the Universe figures and all that, and Thundercats figures, I would try to open up the packages carefully to separate the shell from the cardboard. But of course, it was unsuccessful because the glue was always very strong and everything ripped to shreds. But I still tried to do everything carefully. So I already had the beginnings of caring for the package type mentality. When I was 17, I was working at KB Toys in the mall. Obviously, it's in the mall. I don't think they ever had any kind of standalone stores. I was working there, and that was about the time Earthworm Jim was big, had its cartoon, had the video games, loved it, and this is where I actually consciously made a decision to buy action figures for the collectability of it. So, of course, having an employee discount, I bought all the Earthworm Jim figures that we got in. Almost all of them. I got Jim and the baddies all in one go. And of course, there's Psychro. Princess, what's her name? So of course, obviously not all baddies, but so I got all these guys and gal at one time. And then shortly after, I was like, okay, I guess I'll get the little variants as well. Little gimmicky ones. So these are my original ones. These are all my originals. The ones I actually bought. Not replacements. And of course, this poor guy. I haven't always had these things collected or stored in a climate-controlled environment, so yeah. I have all the accessories as well. I just didn't want to dig out everything. See, all nicely bagged up, separated by character. And the one character I didn't get at the time was the agent, Earthworm Jim. Secret Agent Earthworm Jim, whatever it was called. And dominoes. Dominoes are fun. But not when I'm trying to shoot a video. Ah. Come on. Yeah, she's always been just a pain to stand. I had her standing earlier. I tried, like I said, I tried to record this with my actual DSLR camera. And it went pretty smoothly. For the most part. But I have to figure out the camera. Maybe I should prop up the tripod a little more. There we are. That's nice. That's pretty. That works. Yeah, everybody fits. Hands fit. Everybody fits. Good. So, yeah, so I got him later on eBay because he was readily available and cheap. I think I got him like $10 shipped or something. But I didn't get him back in the day. I tried to. I got the 4 video cassettes that had the UPCs that you sent in to get the figure. But either it was expired by the time I got the video cassettes, or I just never got around to sending out the UPCs. I don't know. Missed out on getting him. But thanks to that worldwide garage sale that is eBay, completed it. I also have the Pocket Rocket, but that's packed away right now in the vehicle's tote. I didn't feel like digging through that in the closet and getting that out. So, there's the gym crew. So then I go in the Air Force, and in that time, I'd never really read superhero comics as a kid. I always read the cartoony comics, Beavis and Butthead, Ren and Stimpy, things like that. And I did watch Super Friends as a kid, though. So when I got in the Air Force, I met a guy, got along with pretty well, in tech school where you learn to do the actual job that you signed up to do in the Air Force. And he had this comic of Lobo versus the Mask. Now, naturally, I knew who the Mask was because of the movie. I knew it was from comic, but I didn't know who Lobo was, so I borrowed it from him. I read it, loved it. I liked the Lobo character. Not necessarily for his personality, as far as I condone what he does, but it's just entertainment. Like, lowest common denominator, base level entertainment. And the character design was fun. The face markings, the red eyes, the space biker, bounty hunter motif. I enjoyed it. It was something new to me. So it was fun. And so I'd go to the comic shop just outside base and go and buy the comics and do some more reading on them. And the more I read of them, the more I enjoyed it. And when I got to my permanent duty station, I would go and read the trade paperbacks that they had at Walden Books on the mall, because they'd have a sitting area, they'd have the trade paperbacks, and I'd just catch up on comics in general. Also, while I was in the Air Force, the reason why I got more into comics, I found comic book resources back in the peanut butter and jelly days. I was a minor part of the collaborative fan fiction writing community. Met some people, found a team to write with, and developed Rydgen a little more, because that's who I wrote about. It was a lot of them were amalgams or variations of existing characters. Some of them were new characters entirely, but it was very fun, very nice creative outlet. And so I learned more about Lobo. I realized that Lobo was in the same universe as Green Lantern. I was like, oh yeah, Green Lantern. I loved that guy as a kid because my favorite color is green, and his power is based on will and creativity, which I really associated with, or not associated with. That other word, identified with. That's not it, but it's close enough. So, yeah, I was going somewhere with that. Yeah, Green Lantern. So I got big into Green Lantern. I saw that DC Direct. In one of the comic shops, I saw this figure by DC Direct. First actual Green Lantern figure I owned. And it was a step up a bit above what I was used to, because I was used to things like Playmates and their turtles and their gyms, where all the articulation is hidden and weird. The sculpts are always fun, but the poses are very limited due to the sculpts. So you didn't have very dynamic range. So, all right, just knock him over then. That's fine. But having a character with 9 points of articulation, having actual shoulders and elbows and hips and knees and head, that was great. And he also was able to be posed like this, and that's pretty much how I had him posed. This isn't my original Hal anyway. My original Hal, the elbows broke. I learned early on that DC Direct figures are fragile, even if you're not reaming it around. They're fragile. I still have that Green Lantern. I sort of repaired his elbows, but he's now custom fodder, waiting on a project that I'll probably not get around to. But I have him. He's ready for that. But bought a replacement just because that was the first Green Lantern figure I owned. And then went to Toys R Us, just outside of base, right by the same mall as the Walden Books that I frequented. And they had the Hasbro Superhero Collection 9-inch cloth Green Lantern figure, which had a bunch more articulation. And I really loved the hinged fingers joints that they had. I've never seen that before. And that was crazy. It was a good price. I was like, okay, I'll pick it up. And so I've got that stored away somewhere. And it just my collection kind of grew over the course of the late 90s into the early 2000s. In the early 2000s, I got some of the Masters of the Universe commemorative stuff. I pretty much missed out on the first wave of that, but caught on in the second wave. Sold it off earlier this year, actually, because now just going through my collection and realizing what I really want or really don't need. So I just sold that off, and it's fine. And I was able to get better stuff for that money, so that's great. Because doing this for 25 years, you realize sometimes things just get updated, and some of your old stuff, you look at it and it's like, man, the sculpt's great, but I can't even twist them at the waist. And these other newer figures have all this articulation, and it's great. I love the technology that's advanced for the action figures throughout the decades. It's just phenomenal, but can't necessarily keep everything. So you have to go through and pick and choose sometimes. So anyway, back to the early 2000s, getting the He-Man stuff. I went to the He-Man.org forums, kind of skulked about there, met a guy, Kabuki Matt. He lived nearby, so I met up with him, and we became fast friends. We're still best of friends. And he actually opened up a toy store last year. Talk more about that later. But, yeah. So the early 2000s, I got into Dragon Ball Z in the early 2000s. I got in about the Trunks saga when that was airing on Cartoon Network. And I went to the store, to Toys R Us, just kind of skulking about. I gotta stop using that word skulking. And my first Dragon Ball Z figure was Trunks. Because I just enjoyed the character concept. I'm sure it's kind of John Connor-ish, but the design's nice, and the fact that he was only the second Super Saiyan that we knew of. It was good stuff. He seemed like the most level-headed of all the Saiyans, too. This isn't the first one I got. This isn't the single-carded, as you can tell. It's the metallic one. It came with the time capsule playset. I really became a sucker for metallic hair variants and that kind of thing. I had like the Electronics Boutiques variants with the metallic hair, even when it didn't make sense, like Trunks with long hair, but not Super Saiyan, but it was bronze or it was silver. So, sold those years ago once I realized that was just ridiculous to keep all those around. And those are the few things that kept making on card was the variants and such. Which actually kind of backtracking a little bit, when I had the Earthworm Jim figures, when I opened them, I opened the side, and the bottom, and kept the top part of the card connected, so I could just open it up and store them. After collecting for a while, though, I realized that wasn't very space-saving, and I eventually got around to discarding the bubble, but I would keep all the card backs. And just within the past couple of years, I had like 4 or 5 shoe boxes full of card backs, which they were fun to look through when I threw another card back in there, but I was like, what am I really going to do with these? And I decided to get rid of them entirely, because that was just taking up space I didn't need to have taken up. And the Dragon Ball Z stuff was where I was about where I realized that is because I was keeping, like, I had his clamshell, had so many clamshells, and it just wasn't a smart move. It wasn't space saving. But it was when the 2000X He-Man series of figures and the show came out that I realized I was actually a collector, because I was actively going out and hunting for all these new Mattel figures, going out to Walmart before work, looking at their newly stocked items, trying to get it, because they really load up the pegs with He-Man Skeletor. So again, the secondary characters was difficult, but so I was kind of a completist at start, and when they became harder to find as far as the secondary characters, I realized I was collecting for the sake of collecting, not because I had any connection to the actual characters. So I stopped doing that. But I kept all the characters I had so far. And I had my friend from the comic book resources forums, as Angel. She actually went to the San Diego Comic Conventions during that time, and I was able to get all of the SDCC exclusive Masters stuff through her. And I appreciate the time she took to do so, and I really hope it didn't eat out a lot of her time being at the convention. It was a wonderful thing for her to do for me. And I've been returning the favor as much as I could since then, because that's just a spectacular thing for a friend to do. And I still have them in their boxes. I've opened them, but that's something I love, those kinds of boxes. The ones where you can actually open the box, fiddle with the figure, put it back in, and have it stored nicely, it looks good, and it's stored safely, and not taking up a whole lot of space, like the card backs. So, yeah, I still have those, and I will never get rid of those. Even though I've gotten rid of pretty much the rest of that 2000X stuff I had. Not gotten rid of, but in a way gave to my friend Kabuki Matt, because he had to replenish his collection. And as close as we are, it was an easy thing for me to do. So, yeah, and that's what collectors do. Good collectors who, look out for each other. I'm very glad and very fortunate to have friends like Kabuki Matt, As Angel, Larry Koopa, And I met Larry Koopa on the Dragon Ball Z Toys forums back in the day, and we've kept connected since then. Great bunch of people. Always a pleasure to hang out with and talk to. Although I haven't actually met Larry Koopa in person yet. That hasn't quite worked out yet, but we'll get there. Okay. Took a small break, gathered my thoughts, and saw that my shipment from eBay arrived, and it was this Boom Boom head, which I just kit bashed this science girl person. And that's what I do a lot of times right now. I love the Marvel Legends collections, or figures. Hasbro's been doing a great job since they switched to the Infinite thing. Their previous attempts were, hit or miss. Mostly miss for me. But these are great. A lot of times I don't buy a whole lot of new, or at least full price retail Marvel Legends, because I have so many of the old Toy Biz ones. But the new ones, I have to replace the Toy Biz ones sometimes. But I'll wait for its figures to go on clearance, either in the store or online, and kit bash them. Don't do a whole lot of painting right now, which is why I'm really glad the skin tone on this really turned out to match nicely. Oh, that does focus. Good. I'm using my cell phone for my camera now. Wasn't sure if it would do it live, and it does. Very cool. But yeah, the skin tone, I don't have to do anything about the skin tone on that. I might repaint her hair, but yeah, it's a kit bash of, I think her name is Morningstar? The body? I don't know. I stole White Suit Deadpool's jacket, and I stole Claire Temple's glove hands, and now I have Boom Boom's face. Very sciencey, very fun. Just something to have around. So, yeah. I don't do a whole lot of DC these days because I have pretty much all the DC figures via DC Direct and Mattel from their lines. And Hasbro's been kicking it with the Marvel stuff and the Star Wars stuff, which is another line I'll get random figures on clearance for backdrop. This past year or so, I've really gotten into diorama and accessories, like third-party accessories from people for photo shoots. I just bought Canon T6 recently, my first actual DSLR. DSLR? Yeah, that's right, I think. I might be around. I'm pretty sure that's right. Because the depth of the lighting is so much better than the cell phone. Cell phone's great, it does a bunch of stuff, but you can do so much more with those RAW files, and it looks spectacular compared to what the cell phone can do. So I'm glad I did that investment. That's good at that. I've been taking photos and putting them up on Instagram, and they've been looking great. I need to work a little more on my lighting, but that comes with a little practice, experience, and everything. So, imports. Let's get into imports a little bit. I've gotten a few imports via Dragon Ball stuff. Some of I got the Ultimate Evolution trunks. I got all the model kits from back in the day from Bandai. I got the Bandai SBC stuff at one time, and then when I realized that the articulation just wasn't there, I sold off my SBC stuff. I didn't have a whole lot of it. I did keep one. I kept the exclusive, the Super Saiyan trunks from the exclusive 3-pack, because I did a trade with a guy from Canada from the Dragon Ball Toys forums, and I've kept him because I was just, I wear a figure, and it's a nice sculpt too, just limited articulation, but I still enjoy it. Now the high-end import stuff I didn't get into at all. I wasn't even really aware of for a while, until, I mean, I saw at SDCC, one of the SDCCs, I saw the Super Saiyan Goku figure arts being displayed there, and I was like, wow, that's a great figure. It's all sorts of articulation, but I'm not paying that kind of price. And so that line goes along, it keeps going, of course, until Trunks came out. And I was like, oh, what? Interchangeable heads, interchangeable faces? and so many of them. So this is the original release, as you can tell by the packaging. And where's that sucker? There it is. Hologram. And of course, this is before the Figuarts Dragon Ball Z stuff blew up in America, and everything became super hot, super expensive to get if you missed out. So I got in on this at the right time. I said at the time, I just need Trunks. That's all I need. I don't need anybody else. This is all I will ever need. And that lasted maybe all about a year. Because a year later-ish, I found the first release of Super Saiyan 3 Goku. It was already opened, but it was still in the package. I found that at my local collector's shop, The Great Escape, for $50. I was like, okay, I'll do that because I like the design. And it just all fell apart from there, because then they announced the androids and they announced all these other things. I was like, okay, I guess I'm in. So I'm focused mostly on the stuff related to Trunks, since Trunks is my favorite character. So Cell Saga and Boo Saga stuff. I like my Goku. I'm just not as needing of the Goku related stuff like the Saiyan Saga stuff, because Trunks is my man from this. And just having a good old time trying to fiddle this face back in that place. There. Ish. Good. Yes. So yeah, I've been posing the heck out of him when I first got him. Did all sorts of photography with him. With what I had, which was a crappy Fujifilm camera or the cell phone or whatever I had on hand. Had the cardboard backgrounds that came with certain figure sets. But they were fun. Especially after I found the Obitsu stands. I got them from this place called Hobby Search, 1999, and they were very cheap. I got 15 of them. Kabuki Matt got a few of them for me, and I saved the rest of them. I still have a few bags I haven't opened, and out of the almost 10 years I've had them, I've only broken 2 of the actual links, the plastic links that hold the figure up. So they're pretty solid, and they've worked out great for photo shoots and display. But yeah, this is what got me into imports, and realized that the money that you put into one of these guys is well worth it. I know they got in better bodies since then, and I've decided I need to really limit my spending on that on the import side. But I also discovered Figma, like the first Figma Metroid Samus. When that came out, I found out about it too late. It sold out on Big Bad Toy Store, but fortunately I decided to fill out the whole alert me when it comes in stock thing. I never thought it would come in stock. And then a year later, because especially since on the secondary market that sucker was going for like hundreds of dollars, and I was not paying hundreds of dollars for a figure. But it became another production of it became available for North America, and I was able to buy her at the regular, I think it's $50. And yeah, so Figma, I'm glad to see that the Figma Twilight Princess link is being offered once again, but at a higher price point than original, which kind of sucks, but again, it's better than paying the prices that he's going for in the second market. So I'm going to pick him up as soon as he comes back out. Even though I have the, not Wind Waker, oh, what is he? He's over there. Give me one sec. Skyward Sword, that's it. The one of the few Zelda games I haven't actually played. So, yeah. So I got the Skyward Sword, which is great, but I like the darker hues of the Twilight Princess too. That'll fit more into the more realistic type of figures. Yeah. So that's kind of my collecting habits right now. I'm slowed down. I'm just buying clearance stuff to kitbash here and there, and more focused on photography than I am figure collecting. Of course, I'll pick up something I like if I see it and I have the money to do so. But especially since, again, my friend opened up his store, he can pre-order stuff easily, and so my access to these figures are a lot easier. I don't have to wait for, say, Big Bad or someone online to get him in stock and then ship them out to me. I just wait till he gets it, and then I can just go and pick it up at the store. Super easy. The other store I used to do that to, it became unreliable. Their shipments tended to get canceled because they went through Diamond or something. And yeah, Diamond. If you've been doing this a while, you probably know about that kind of thing. So, yeah. That's about a good start. Getting to know me, my collecting style, what I like to do with it, what I collect. But this is far from all-inclusive. This is just a sample of what you can expect from this channel. What you can expect from me. I turned off the comments because this is mostly for me. If you enjoy watching my videos, that's great, and I appreciate it. If you don't like it, that's great, and you could just not watch them. But I'm doing this for myself, and that's the main reason I'm doing this. So that's why I turned comments off. I'm not going to beg you to like, subscribe, turn on the notifications. I'm not going to do that. I don't plan on monetizing this. After all, I do this in my spare time. This is my casual hobby, Rydgen having fun thing to do. And if you want to join me for that ride, excellent. If not, excellent. So that's what I have. That's it from the den, and I'll catch you next video.